Frontline Worker Pay Working Group's recommendations for how to distribute the $250 million in financial support for essential workers is due by September 6th. Co-chair of the group, Senator Karin Housley, joined me to talk more about the panel's progress in deciding how to allocate the money. You are co-chair of a working group that is comprised of 3 senators, 3 representatives, and 3 members of the Walz administration that's charged with determining the best way to allocate $250 million in bonus pay to essential workers during COVID-19. $250 million seems like a lot, but is it really?
Thanks so much for having me, Shannon. I wish I could be there in person with you, but we will. Our next interview we will do in person. And you're right, $250 million sounds like a lot of money. And it's truly an honor to be co-chairing this committee with Representative Ryan Winkler from the House. But there are so many people that were essential and frontline workers, especially hearing the stories throughout the committee. You can't pick winners and losers. So I started the committee out a few months ago, or beginning of August, with why don't we just get everybody in the whole state $50 and call it a day? Because who is more frontline or who is more at risk than the next person. So, but what we are tasked with is just the $250 million and to get that number out. So that's our mission. We have a short window left to do it.
So you've heard quite a lot of testimony from Minnesotans from all walks of life twice a week for the entire month of August. What has impacted your view of how Minnesotans handled the early days of the pandemic in particular, based on what you've heard?
Minnesotans did a great job. I mean, they showed up and they still went to work, even without PPE, without masks, the unknown and the fear. The fear is what we heard a lot during the committee. Nobody knew what was going on. We heard from truck drivers to meatpacking plants to school teachers. And then those, I fight for our long-term care residents. So we heard from family members of residents. We heard from those who worked in long-term care. We heard from nurses. We heard from other healthcare workers. Everybody had a story. Some of them we had never even thought of, those food preparers, daycare, childcare providers, and what they all went through. So Minnesotans did an absolutely wonderful job of showing up and despite all the fear in the pandemic. So I have to give them a pat on the back for that, and really do want to commend them for sharing their stories, because they were heartbreaking. A lot of people lost loved ones, and even with the nurses, I mean, they are in the faces of those, helping them breathe, knowing that they have COVID. I mean, it was really, really tough, and it continues to be. I mean, we're in the surge number 4 of COVID, so it is tough.
It's true. It's not over yet. And speaking of healthcare workers, at the last meeting, it appeared that a divide had perhaps emerged between Republicans and the DFL members of the committee. The Republicans would like to see the healthcare workers in particular receive bonus pay. Where do you stand on that? What is your thought process?
Well, and part of this task that we were given is there was language that came along with the $250 million, and we had to categorize those who had an increased risk of getting the virus by going to work. So increased risk, I immediately think of our healthcare providers. I mean, people go to the hospital with COVID. Our nursing home workers, our long-term care, there were outbreaks there. Nearly 70% of those deaths occurred in our long-term care facility. So when you're talking increased risk, I think that bucket has a much bigger increased risk. And I don't want to exclude anybody else in all of those other categories or sectors, because they too all had risk. Just anybody who left their house and had to go to work, there was increased risk. But is there a further increase of risk that those actually had COVID face-to-face every day for prolonged periods of time? There were outbreaks. They had to quarantine from their families 2 weeks, and then next month another 2 weeks. So that's what we were trying to make a point of. Did the Democrats think that there was maybe a little bit difference in the increase of risk compared to all of the other sectors?
Well, and speaking of the other sectors, you did hear from workers in industries like transit, bus drivers, meat packing, grocery, childcare, education. You mentioned those, and they continued to go to work. Some had to quarantine without pay. Some became ill. Some people are still dealing with the after effects of having had COVID. What kind of eligibility should these kinds of workers receive?
And again, it's 250 million, and it doesn't go a long way. I know the Democrats' proposal yesterday was $1,500 across the board to everybody. Well, there's 1.3 million essential workers in Minnesota. That amounts to $2 billion. We don't have $2 billion. We have 250 million. So we can't do that. That's just out of the question. But I do think what is a meaningful amount? I think that's what we have to get to. What is really hero pay, or what is a bonus pay to those who continue to show up? One testifier, they still go to work every single day, double mask. I mean, they other sectors don't have to even wear a mask. They are still double mask, full PPE, day in and day out. So I think we really have to put them in two separate buckets. And I know they don't like to hear that, but I don't want to exclude anybody either. So I think if we can get something of a bonus pay to everybody who actually showed up for work, not those who had the option to work from home, and not those who collected unemployment, that actually had to show up to work, they need a little bonus pay also.
Well, as you know, there's been difficulty in a related, in terms of the federal money that was set aside for the eviction moratorium and getting that rent help to the people, who are facing eviction. So that has been sort of in a quagmire. Regardless of how the money gets divvied up, how do you ensure that this $250 million does not get stuck in a similar quagmire and the money easily gets to the people to whom the committee and then the legislature decides are most deserving?
I think that's a priority for everybody on our committee. We've got this money. Let's get it out to the people who deserve it. Commissioners Doty and Grove and Robertson and Senator Murphy and Representative Winkler and Frazier, and then Representative New, Senator Kiffmeyer, and myself. That is a priority for all of us. We were tasked with this job in the first special session. We voted on it, get this $250 million out. None of us want to make it political. These workers who showed up during the pandemic, despite the fear, and continue to work to this day, deserve to be recognized and deserve this money as soon as they can get it.
So a little bit of a crystal ball here in front of you, because we're speaking on a Wednesday. Tomorrow is the final meeting of the committee. This interview will air on Sunday, and the recommendations are due to the governor and legislative leaders on Monday. There's been talk that it needs to be a unanimous decision. Will you be able to agree? Will something come out of this working group?
I'm pretty sure something will come out of this working group. It may not be tomorrow because there's still some testifiers that are going to show up tomorrow. So we might have to put a little bit of an extension on, but I think we are starting to really narrow in on the language and who these sectors are and who we think should get it. It's Representative Winkler and myself have made that a priority to get some language to the governor that we all agree upon. And I think we will. I think we will get unanimous support for whatever we come to agree on, and hopefully by the end of this week.
Senator Karin Housley, it's nice to see you, even remotely. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Shannon.